Now, we've all been told that getting more oxygen into our cells is a really, really good thing. So many diseases occur because of this lack of oxygen, whether it's ischemia, hypoxia, whatever. Oxygen is a good thing. So today I'm going to reveal the secret of how to increase available oxygen into your cells. And so you probably already know that sleeping with the window open is going to help increase oxygen. Maybe having more plants in your room are going to give you more oxygen. Okay. You also probably know that exercise will increase oxygen, specifically aerobic type exercise. That's the exercise that occurs maybe when you're walking or a slight jog. Being outside in nature will also give you more oxygen, right? I recently did a video and talked about methylene blue can give you more oxygen to the cells, which is pretty interesting. But there is a very interesting secret about oxygen that I'm going to share with you right now that you may or may not know about. In order to increase the available oxygen into the cells, the release of oxygen out of your blood cells, there is a trigger. There is this thing that controls it, and that is CO2. That's right, CO2. You see, you probably thought CO2 was a waste product, and it's not needed, as you're breathing out all the CO2. And by the way, when you're breathing out, an average person is probably breathing out, I don't know, maybe 25 to 75% oxygen. So it's not all CO2. You're breathing a lot of oxygen out too, because it's not being absorbed. CO2 is the key for the releasing of O2. And it's called the Bohr effect, B-O-H-R effect. CO2 tells the body to release O2. And the way it works is that CO2 increases the acidity, makes things more acid, and then that loosens up the oxygen so it can then be released. Take a look at someone that is starving from oxygen, someone that is in a panic attack, right? What are they doing? They are hyperventilating. What happens when you hyperventilate is you're trying to get a lot of oxygen, right? But you're not getting a lot of CO2. What is the most common recommendation when someone is hyperventilating? Breathe in a paper bag. What does that do? That increases the CO2, allowing the oxygen then to go into the cells. So it might be a really good thing to actually buy an oximeter. You can usually get them as a kind of a pulse oximeter, checks your pulse rate and oxygen saturation. And normally it should be between 95 and 99. Okay. And we're looking at how much oxygen is saturated in your blood. And it's a pretty cool test, and it'll kind of give you a reading of what's going on. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how to increase the oxygen and raise it up to 99 or even 100. And you can do this test on yourself. At first, when you think about it, it's very counterintuitive. We're going to increase our CO2 to increase our oxygen. Sounds weird, but it really works. Now, a couple ways that you can increase more CO2. Breathe through your nose versus breathing through your mouth. Yeah, that's right. Breathing through your nose gives you more oxygen. You would think when you're sleeping that it would restrict the air, which it does, and it would restrict the oxygen, but it doesn't. You'll have a much better sleep if you breathe through your nose. Now, this is not all about just increasing your CO2 100%. We need a balance of oxygen and CO2. Okay, all we're trying to do is balance it. When we're under stress, our breathing changes and we no longer balance the CO2 with the O2. We actually are getting more oxygen and not enough CO2 when we're under stress. And that's just probably counterintuitive when you think about it, but the solution is to increase more CO2. And you can do that by simple breathing as well, like slowing down your breath, okay? And balancing out the inhalation with the exhalation. There was one study, which I'll put down below, that they added more CO2 to this oxygen, and they gave this mixture of air to these group of people who all had